We continue to monitor developments with Helene. We have the 8 o'clock update in on Thursday morning, and it has strengthened, now a Category 2. It doesn't look like it's done strengthening yet. It should get to Category 3 by the 2 o'clock update this afternoon. You'll notice that the Storm Prediction Center has issued a tornado watch, pretty much covering most of the Florida peninsula here. You can see this system is going to make its run up towards the Big Bend as we check out the forecast for this in the latest track. But with this being on that right front quadrant as it's moving north here, it's going to push some of the squally weather up into the area, and there will be the chances for isolated tornadoes to spin up along some of those squalls. So we're going to be watching for that. Again, the intensification later this morning and into the afternoon, winds eventually expected to reach about 115 miles per hour. Those are sustained winds. So right now they're at 100 with gusts to 115. Eventually we'll see winds sustained at 115 with gusts to say 125 or 130. It's going to continue up towards the Florida Big Bend region, coming close to Tallahassee there and then cutting up through Georgia, and still likely a hurricane, Cat 1, at 2 o'clock Friday morning. After that, it will eventually weaken to a tropical storm as it goes past Atlanta and comes into the mountains here in western parts of Virginia, some of the high country back up in South Carolina, and then into Tennessee. A lot of rain. I'm concerned about runoff over the mountains and some of the flooding potential there. And that may extend all the way up into West Virginia, parts of Western Virginia, and obviously North Carolina, all under the gun. Again, the governors in North Carolina and Virginia went ahead and declared states of emergency for potential issues, not necessarily an absolute, but they are setting now the stage in case they have to respond quickly. So that's been a proactive step there. Of course, they will feel the brunt down across South Carolina and Georgia. There are already tropical storm warnings up down that way and hurricane warnings across parts of Georgia. You see how that hurricane warning extends up through the Macon area just south of Atlanta. Through Asheville, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, all of South Carolina really, and then down through coastal sections of Georgia and much of Florida, including Jacksonville, under tropical storm warnings. And then you have the hurricane warnings for these areas around the Big Bend through Tallahassee, Albany, and Macon, Georgia. So a lot to watch here over the next 24 hours or so, 24 to, say, 36 hours. Here's a wind field, and this is just one of the models, but it gives you a feel for what we're looking at, some of the different communities that are in line as this system approaches later this evening. The winds are going to become very violent as we head through the evening. It's going to be a tough time. Again, the potential for isolated tornadoes or maybe even some scattered tornadoes if you get several bands coming through this part of Florida. We'll be watching for that. But the wind field around the hurricane coming in around the Panhandle and really the Big Bend area. So you see Panama City with some winds gusting to 47 or so, but you can see those winds around East Point really picking up. Watch what happens to Tallahassee there as we go later this evening. 117 mile per hour wind gusts could be really tough going into Georgia as well. Even Albany could have some hurricane force gusts as the system comes in. Eventually it's going to wind down as it moves farther inland. Macon, Atlanta there with gusts early Friday up to about 50 miles per hour around Atlanta, Macon closer to 90. Again, this is a model, but I just wanted to share with you kind of the general thinking on that wind field. Here's another depiction of where this thing could go, and this is, again, the graph model. And earlier, the graph model was showing this a little farther to the east. It's actually brought it in west and is very much now in line with the Hurricane Center's projection. You'll notice the center of circulation right over Atlanta. So what does it mean for Hampton Roads and for the coastal sections of North Carolina? Well, we could see some heavier bands still push up into the area. Certainly a possibility. We're going to be on the outer fringe of this system. So some tropical downpours still a possibility. I think the better chances for heavier rain is going to be back over the mountains. As I was mentioning, we could have some issues with runoff or flooding back over the mountains in western parts of Virginia and North Carolina. But for us, we have to watch these areas of locally heavy tropical rains for potential isolated tornado threat. It's not great. You'll notice today the threat is down to our south, but for tomorrow it is higher. And again, Southside Hampton Roads, the peninsula, under a level 1 threat, as well as the extreme northern part of northeast North Carolina. As you get south down towards the Albemarle Sound, it's a level 2 or slight risk for severe storms. That threat, again, isolated spin-up tornadoes with some of the cells. Not a promise that we're going to see it, but it is a possibility, so I just want you to be mindful. All right, aside from that, we have Isaac. I've hardly mentioned Isaac throughout daybreak early this morning, but we are still keeping an eye to that, and you can always get the full track on these things by logging on right here on our digital platforms, 13newsnow.com. All of our mobile apps, we have different push alerts for different things as well. But as far as the systems going on, Helene here, Isaac there. This system here, the next name likely to be used will be Joyce. And that'll be maybe in the next 24 to 48 hours. There's an 80% chance of development with that, a 90% over the next 7 days. I will say the models do carry this thing off into the North Atlantic. So potentially another fish storm there should not pose any threat to us here on the East Coast. We'll continue to watch all of this and keep you updated. Again, Helene, the big concern, obviously, for Florida and the southeast U.S., potentially some rain in Hampton Roads on Friday. Stay tuned for more updates from 13 News Now.